Hello and welcome. I'm Ethan7878 and we're back with another video. I know it's been a long time, but I've been fairly busy as of late with school and getting ready for a move and all kinds of stuff. I haven't exactly had time to make programming videos or World of Warship videos. The ship we're playing today is the Missouri, and the map is Shatter. And the difference, the Missouri is basically, if you're not familiar, it's in Iowa, but with a radar instead of a plane. And you can only research it with free XP, specifically 750,000 free XP, whereas the Iowa is a normal tech tree ship. Another key difference is that the Missouri makes a crap ton of money, but we'll get to that in a second. Now this game that you're seeing here is going to be sort of a rough one from the start. As you can see right now, it looks fairly even, except that our Minsk just got detonated by that high explosive firing Iowa on the 10 line. Just thought I'd point that out. And the Ibuki very nearly gets himself deleted by the enemy Missouri, and he is not going to last too much longer either. And taking a shot, there goes the Ibuki, deleted by the, once again, the high explosive firing Iowa. That guy's got 2 kills and he's been firing the wrong ammo all game. But anyway, we're 4 minutes in and someone in the chat is already saying, looks like we're getting decided who's going to win. And we're down 3 ships, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. And some more high explosive coming in from the battleship, and the hood actually manages to miss all of the shells, which is quite nice. Now the smoke screen laid here by the Yugumo is giving me some sort of cover, but not very much, because when I fire, my range goes out far enough that I'm spotted by anything off on that 10 line. I am moving though. I'm not just bowing in and sitting still. I'm moving, trying to throw off their aim as much as I can. And this is something that you can do pretty well in the Missouri. It has 3 turrets with 3 16-inch guns on each, and the base damage for that, the citadel damage, is 13,500, so fairly hard hitting. And the 2 turrets in the front, 2 super firing turrets, mean that you can sort of bow in and use your bow armor and angle in, except for Yamatos, but there are no Yamatos this game, fortunately. But you're pretty good at just bowing in and sustaining all kinds of damage and potential damage and just bouncing it off, like, no harm done. That's not what the enemy Iowa is doing, of course. He is sailing around broadside on. And the hood too, who I citadeled earlier, did 24,000 or so damage to. And more shells coming out, and there's another citadel with 12,000 damage. I've already used one pop of my radar, but I do have another one available when I need it. And we're going to pop it soon here, because there is a Mayhan that has not been spotted in quite some time. You can see his last known position right on the minimap there, right at the southwestern side of the sea. And it gets me a little bit worried because, you know, a destroyer sees a sitting battleship and decides to rush him with torpedoes. So something to keep in mind, and I do actually start moving forward here. And trying to get all my guns firing on the hood. And again, because I'm moving around, that Iowa just missed his entire salvo, which is quite nice. And sure enough, if you saw the minimap, the Mayhan was just spotted heading up the channel, making his way up the channel. And when you play a battleship, I mean, you're only clicking... Ooh. 39,000 damage on the Iowa. See, you don't want to show broadside in this ship because the belt armor isn't great. Not good enough to pull off that kind of maneuver. But when you have 30 seconds between your shots, you have lots of time to look around, scan the minimap, etc. And you notice those kinds of things, like a Mayhan rushing at you. So I pop my radar. Yugumo is going to help deal with him. And in the meantime, since my guns are facing completely the wrong way, I take some more shots at the hood. And the Mayhan does fire his torpedoes, but those American torpedoes, not yet great. It's really the Benson and the Fletcher where your torpedoes start getting really worthwhile. So I'm able to outrun all but one of them. And at this point, I'm not in a much better position because now I'm going to be running into a Fletcher and a Buki and 3 battleships. So again, slow down, start the bow tank reverse maneuver, and aiming for that Ibuki. I do get 10,000 damage because of the overmatch mechanic on his stern. And if you're looking at the team list at this point, it's 12 versus 7. The team has not done very well off on the west side. On the east side, we're still holding, and we kind of have to because the enemy team is leading us by about 400 points. So if we lose C, or we give the enemy C, then this game is going to be pretty much down the drain. And this Iowa, who decides to rush me while showing full broadside, just eats a citadel and 19,000 damage. I, on the other hand, am reversing, keeping my armor as angled as possible, trying to tempt them into shooting at my broadside, while keeping it angled enough that the shells just bounce off. Now my immediate target again is that Iowa, who keeps showing me his broadside. And there's another citadel, 15,000 damage, and I decided I can get my rear turret off on that Missouri while staying angled to the Iowa. So fire it off there, and I am taking a lot of damage. I'm actually bumping into the friendly Yugumo at this point, who was laying that smoke screen. And with the Iowa showing his broadside point blank, I don't take the shot because he's low enough health, and I spot the Mayhem coming around the corner. And that's the second time he's tried that maneuver of rushing around an island, and it's not going to work out nearly as well for him this time. So now now our team has finally gotten 4 kills. 3 of which are on this side of the map. However, the enemy team still holds a commanding lead, and they actually just did sink another one of our ships. So the fight is far from over. Now, fortunately for us, this Yugumo is actually a pretty good player. He is using his guns to try and, fight off that Fletcher. However, he's forgetting that smokescreens are generally torpedo magnets, especially when there was a battleship just spotted inside them. And I take a blind shot here at the Fletcher, at where I think he was last positioned. I don't hit anything. Fletcher, however, sends some torpedoes into the smokescreen and takes off almost all of that Yugumo's health. Again, Tier 9 American torpedoes, at that point, they are really good. Fletcher is in his smokescreen, and I'm considering just taking a blind shot to try and get him out of the picture. But fortunately, the Yugumo is already on that, and he finishes him off without having to spot him. And the last set of torpedoes that miss. And now the Ibuki that has been spamming high explosive on me all game isn't so brave without his battleships in the way. There's a death strike, 2 citadels. I think that's the last time he'll be pulling that off. And the last enemy ship on this side, the Hood, is going to be dealt with pretty soon. My secondaries are working him over. We have the Shatter behind me, who's lighting fires, and he does in fact finish off the kill. And the Ibuki, who shot his torpedoes right along the gray line and didn't know that I had a rudder, has completely missed with all 8 of his torpedoes. Now there's this Tago, who's actually a Takao, as you can see by the camo. He didn't put up too much of a fight either. Again, because the overmatch and, 60-inch guns don't really care. And I can't help it, I just give him a little, get off my screen. And I also gave the Ibuki an 07 when he so nicely lent himself to my guns. I'm going for a shot here across the map at max range because there's nothing else for me to really shoot at. If I can get a tiny bit extra damage, that would be nice. Not hoping for too much, though. Again, you can't ask for very much at these kinds of ranges. And in fact, I miss every single shot. I asked my team if they want radar for the Edinburgh, because he was last spotted nearby, and I figure that if they can get a few shots on him, then he won't be a threat to me as I make my way into the B capture point. Yugumo is charging in. I think the Edinburgh has his smokescreen active because otherwise that Yugumo would not be doing such an ambitious and brave maneuver. I do pop my radar, and as the last of my heals finishes off, this is the last of my radar that's about to go down. And I'm pretty sure the Edinburgh wasn't running his hydro, because if he was, A, he would have seen the Yugumo and done quite a bit of damage on him, as British cruisers tend to do, and B, he probably would have seen those torpedoes and had a better chance of dodging them. But anyway, there's now the Z-23, that's my next opponent who's coming in towards B. And I think as soon as he sees B start to flip, he tries to run away, but he's pretty much surrounded. He's not going to survive for very much longer. I fire off all of my guns and miss, except for one single overpen, and again, the Martel comes in to finish off the kill. And I think finally we can call this a successful comeback. We have made, what would that be? We've killed 10 ships to the enemy's 1 since I last listed off the team count. We went from 7 versus 12 to 6 versus 2, so definitely a great comeback from the team. And also, if I can blow my own horn for a little bit, I think I did a great job holding the corner at sea. And again, that's something that the Missouri and the Iowa and any battleship really, with 66% of its guns in the front, can do. You're able to bow in, absorb all kinds of damage, keep your guns firing and punishing broadsides, and eventually just outlast the enemy team. And just as my shells are about to land on the Roma, he is finished off by the Musashi. Musashi, of course, having those troll guns, those 18-inch guns, that can overmatch the bows of most ships. Now let's take a look at the post-battle results. And as I mentioned briefly earlier on, the Missouri brings in a lot of money. 1 million credits earned, and 9,000 XP, 5,000 free XP. I also earned the Devastating Strike award, the Dreadnought for taking a bunch of damage, and the High Caliber for dealing a bunch of damage. And in fact, 201,000 is a bunch of damage. Now the team score, with just short of 2,900 experience, or base experience. I topped my team, of course. And 3 kills, the most on my team. I also got a few planes, that's just fighters and spotter planes. Now the detailed report. As you can see, the Ibuki and the Tekao and the Mayhem were my only 3 kills. Mostly the Ibuki and the Tekao because they showed me their side. But I also did a lot of damage to that Iowa, then the Hood, who were also very insistent on showing me their broadside. And I tanked 111,000 damage. And finally, credits and XP. You can see for yourself, but basically lots of money because it's a premium, and lots of experience because it's a premium. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was a good showcase of what you can do in the Missouri, sort of how to play it to hold a corner and sort of tank your way through the enemy team. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure you hit the like button before you leave. If you want to see more of these videos, then hit subscribe or go see my older videos on my channel. Anyway, I've been Ethan7878. Thank you very much for watching.